if you want to record your hands and use an app that will help you get better at live poker and also possibly fast track yourself onto this show, you should check out the Fastroll app. It is very, very easy to record all of your live hands and build a database that you can share with everyone and get it into a nice compact hand history format. And if you want to submit to be on the show, there is a button in there that you can click submit to the call-in show, and we will give priority for people that are submitting through the Fastroll app. Let's move along here to the last caller. I'm going to pronounce this guy's name correctly. Zimu, is that right? You are up next, sir.
That's right.
Oh, are you a first-time caller?
Yes, that's right.
All right.
I've been hearing from podcasts, YouTubes for a very long time.
Awesome.
Now it's my first time actually on the call.
Great. So where are you playing out of?
I'm playing. Oh, I mean, like where I'm from, or where this hand is happening.
Sure. Where? Both. How about both?
Okay. I am in Seattle, but the casino games in Seattle is horrible.
Capped street to street by street to street max bet, right?
Yes, that's right. High rakes. I think the max bet is 300, and that's just too small for I guess I'm too used to the no limit part. So having that cap plus the rake plus everyone's buying short is not making it a fun game.
Okay. So where's this one played out of?
This one is played at 525 Encore in Vegas.
Encore in Vegas, which is what? Is that a 1,200 max buy-in or something?
It's 400 to 1,500.
Oh, 1,500. Okay. So this is Encore in Vegas. So 1,500 max buy-in. How deep are you for this hand?
I am around 1,700.
Okay. And was this like during the day?
It was 2 a.m.
Oh, okay. So 1,700 effective, 2 a.m. Okay. Start us off.
Yeah, so like a little bit more in terms of the context. This particular person, I was talking to him. He is from Germany. He is here on a trip.
Euro.
Yes. It should have raised some on barrels, but it didn't. He and his friends were here on a trip.
Oh, boy.
He has a full stack. His friends also has a full stacks. But at the time, I did not notice it. I thought he was very short. But this guy actually had two 500 trips at the bottom of the red chips. So it was very hard to see.
And this is going to be the primary villain in the hand?
No. But because I thought his friends was short and like only playing for like about 500s, I was kind of under the impression that these two are probably here like for fun, for trips, and not really like.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So you mis-eyed the guy's stack, and then that led you to think, oh, these aren't like professional Euros, they're more actually having a good time. But then you were wrong about that though too, because they actually were full stack. I got you. Okay.
Yes, so that would have come into play. Into this hand.
Okay. All right. So start us off here. Preflop.
Right. Preflop. The under the gun is a recreational player, kind of annoying player. He limps. I've been ISOing this guy pretty often, battling this person. So I raised to 20. That would be the normal raise size. That would go like without a limp. I would go to 15.
So what do you have?
I have ace of clubs and ace of diamonds.
You've been battling this limper, huh?
Yeah, I've been battling this limper left and right. There are some fun, interesting hands that I would talk about, but this one I'm going to talk about is definitely more interesting.
All right. So you raised to 20 with aces. Okay.
Yes. The main villain, who is next in position, 3 bets to 60.
So from like mid position,
I open low jack, villain 3 bet at hijack.
Oh, okay. So here in the low jack, and then the hijack, 3 bets to how much?
60.
Oh God. Even the sizing is annoying from these German guys. All right. So limp 20, 60. Okay. Yep.
Yes. So like one thing I've noticed in previous hands, like this guy is playing pretty standards. He would 3 bet 3 times.
Okay. So 3 bet to 60.
The limper fold around to me, and I 4 bet to 200.
All right. So the limper folds. Hero 4 bets to 200. This is against the German guy. So you go more than 3x from out of position at 1,700 effective. And again, we've actually talked about this. You are allowed to go larger, definitely from out of position, even in a 4-bet pot. It's not a cold 4-bet. You're out of position. You're trying to get as much value as you possibly can. I'm okay with it. 200, okay.
The flop is...
Wait a minute. So he calls, right?
He calls,
all right,
yes.
All right. So hijack calls. And now we've talked about this too as well. Like a lot of times in live poker, people don't have a 5-bet range because, I mean, obviously Hero has ace ace, so there's only one other combo of ace ace left in the deck. But I'm just saying, like, even if you were to do this with king king, just because he didn't 5-bet doesn't mean he doesn't have ace ace. Sometimes people don't have that a 5-bet range. Looks like the pot is probably like something like 405. And okay.
Going to the flop, it's Queen 10-4 rainbow. Unfortunately, I don't have the exact suits memorized for that.
All right, I'm going to put queen of diamonds, 10 of hearts, 4 of spades. Queen of diamonds, 10 of hearts, 4 of spades. Hero with ace of clubs, ace of diamonds. Pot's just over 400. You guys have 1,500 or so behind, and you're out of position, okay?
I went ahead and bet half pot.
Hero bets 200. I see Nate in the live chat. I actually remember this from talking about these 4-bet pots in these situations where I think this is, if I remember this correctly, like half pot, this is actually where you actually see a reflection of half pot, is sometimes in 4-bet pots, like possibly right around the stack depth, where usually like in other situations, you don't really see a whole lot of like half pot in given situations. But I do remember some half pot, like for whatever reason in 4-bet pots. I mean, obviously, you're behind the queens, you're behind the tens, right? That's 6 combos, but it's a 4-bet pot and you're supposed to be betting here anyways. And I mean, I would say, I mean, at some point it's interesting because if he just calls, right, the pot's going to be 800. You guys are going to have 1,300 left. So about a pot and a half SPR. And then it's just kind of like, if you get a brick, I'm just thinking ahead here. Like if you get a brick turn, how do you want to sort of shape this particular hand in this given, situation? Because you don't have to bet like a whole lot. Did he just call? I assume in position.
He just called.
Yeah.
So question, I was considering betting a quarter pot here. Like if this was an online 100 BB game, I would probably bet a quarter pot here because that's the more standard size to use, and it's very easy to get all in on the river.
Yeah, but you're not 100 BBs. You're like 350 BBs, right?
Right, that's right.
Yeah.
So I think the 200 was because I wanted to reduce the SPR. That's for one
Sure.
reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is the board that being deep and being out of position, I would be checking quite a bit. It will not be like a range bet quarter pot kind of thing. So I decided to do like half pot and check kind of scenario.
Yeah, I mean, when you get deeper in these spots, things change. Like in a 4-bet pot, usually one of the things that you can just sort of learn as a rote approach, which isn't usually all that bad, because they're rare situations, is that you're supposed to bet a lot in 4-bet pots, like in terms of frequency for small sizing, all but the worst boards. But that doesn't usually take into account of how deep you actually are. And you guys actually were using sizing that wasn't like too far off from what actually was optimal. Like you're not using crazy live sizing where the pot all of a sudden gets like super, super bloated. So yeah, I mean, I can kind of see that. It's just interesting because now at this point, obviously you're trying to bloat the pot up. At this point, at 1.5 SPRs, I guess it's really hard for you to ever think that you're ever really going to fold your hand. I mean, I guess some paint cards are bad for you. Jack, King, and maybe some Queen X. Those aren't like your favorite cards, but still, even at like 1.5 SPRs, it's kind of hard to get away from.
Right.
Especially with the guys like a Euro.
The plan was if I bet 200 on the flop, I'll probably follow up with around like 225 or 250 on the turn, and have, in that case, I would still have slightly less than a pot size bet on the river.
Couldn't you just go like, if you went half pot on a blank turn, wouldn't that be, so if you went 400 and he called, the pot would be 1,600 and you guys would have like 900 left. That I kind of like that a little, because if you go 2 and he call, I mean, if you're trying to keep him wide, I guess, but I mean, if you go 2 again and he calls, the pot's going to be what, 1,200, and you guys are going to have like a full pot size bet left at the end. I don't know. I just think that I might go more like 350, 400. We don't even know what the turn is. I don't know what the turn is on a brick, but
right. I just think like, thinking out loud, like going half pot on the turn and leaving half pot on the river is pretty nice in terms of like geometric sizing. I just think that if the turn was a blank and the river is a Broadway card, in that case, I'm pot committed to not folding to any bets essentially there.
So you're trying to like bet 200 to get value and to pot control kind of a little bit?
Right, because I think, it's live game, my assumption, not I haven't played like too much live games to be honest, but my assumption is this is a big pot. And even if the river rolls off a relatively dangerous card or a blank, it's going to be very hard for the imposition to jam a bluff or jam something that's less than ace ace. Like, for example, if turn is a king and this guy has ace king, it's very possible this guy just checks back to the river.
Yeah, but I think a more important thing to capture here in this hand is to get full value the way that you've shaped it. So I would be less concerned about betting smaller on the turn to somehow leave myself room to check fold a bad river. What would supersede that would be me making the pot, like you said, more geometric, where the river all-in sizing is less of a proportion of the pot size, and I get more calls at the end than going like 200 call and then leaving a pot size bet at the end that doesn't necessarily get called as often. So I'm sort of building a pot up and getting my opponent, I guess you could say, more pot stuck now. That's how I would be looking at this spot.
Exactly. I think, yeah, like if we're throwing balances out of the way and say I have aces, I want to get this all in, definitely. I think if the main goal is get all the money in the river, kind of slightly, like almost regardless of how the runout is going to be, then yes, I totally agree that I should have my plan should have been giving another half pot bet on the turn, but
So what you bet? So you bet 200 on the turn?
the turn.
Oh yeah, what was this? What was the turn? I'm sorry. What was the turn?
The turn is a king.
Oh, well, that changes things.
That changes a lot of things.
Okay, so it's a king. Did it put a backdoor flush draw out there?
No, it's still a full rainbow board.
Oh, okay. So
no draw.
King of clubs.
No backdoor.
All right. Well, this definitely changed. That is not a blank. I mean, I think so. Now at a pot and a half. So you bet 200. So you got about 1,300 left, just over a pot and a half.
Yes.
I mean, does this become a check here?
I did check.
Yeah, you did check. I think I think it's interesting because it's weird when you take a look theoretically what some solvers, if your SPR was a little bit more shallow, like just one, they just get it in here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
1, 2, 1, and 1.2 or something. I would just like bet this thing. Like I wouldn't care. Like my regret is pretty small. Like I would still get called by ace king decently often here because ace king still has a gutter.
I think you're behind. I think you're behind more often, right? I mean, you get into a situation where here, like if you're not going to get called by, you're making a value bet. If you were to bet on the turn, right, you're making a value bet, so you still have to get called by worse, right? More than, for that bet to be in play, for that bet to be correct. And I think you might be behind more often. That doesn't necessarily mean that you still don't have the best hand, but it doesn't. But it might mean that betting is not correct. So you check, okay?
Exact. Villain thinks about it. I was staring at the cards. I probably should have stared at this person instead. That's a miss on my end. But this person, I can feel he was checking my stack and thought about it and bet 175.
Just 175? Wow. 175 into 805?
Yes.
Wow, that's so hijack bets 175. I mean, now it's interesting because it's just I mean, it's less than 25% of pot. And again, this actually demonstrates exactly what I was talking about how this changes the math between our hero betting, where he has to be called by worse more than 50% of the time, because he's in essence almost betting into a dry side pot. A lot of people don't understand that. There's no side pot, but he's still betting if he's not bluffing. Like if he were to bet 400 on this turn, he's still betting 400 to win 400 extra. It has nothing to do with what was actually in the pot. If it's a value bet, it's 1-to-1. Now things have flipped around a lot, right? Now this guy, after you check, this guy bets 175. So now you're getting more than 5-to-1. You only have to have a hand that has, less than 20% equity to continue on, right? So because you're getting such crazy pot up. Now, the interesting thing about this is that at what point do you just call an in-position turn bet? And what I mean by that is, like, what if the guy bet 50? Usually we don't think about, usually when you're in position and you face kind of like a stupidly small bet, I tell people like a 1/10 pot size bet, I tell people, well, treat it like a check. But this is a situation where the guy's in position. Your opponent's in position. So if he bet something like 50, what do? Do you just call? Because it's a little bit different than it going check, check. Because if this went check and the guy checked behind, you've got all your options open on the river. If he bets 50 in position and then you call, I feel like you don't, if you're just going to call a ridiculously small bet from somebody that bets in position really small, you can't just auto check river. Now, again, this is not from up front. I mean, this is different. It's not so ridiculously small, but it got me thinking about that. Anyways, I assume you called.
I called. So my thought process was, this is pretty small. This is very small to the pot.
Right.
I feel very, very good about my hand, to be honest, facing this size. Like, I have to call. I have a jack to the nuts. I have an ace to pretty much the nuts. Like, I would still consider hitting a set. Very, very good here. I'm thinking like, this is, to my mind, it felt like an ace king trying to make a block bet.
Like a stop bet. Yeah, like a in position block, I guess is what we call it, right? Because what he does is, by betting this sizing, if you just call and then you're auto checking rivers, he's almost controlled the pot size, as opposed to him checking behind, and then you are sort of left with a lot of different options. And what's funny is that only really works if the player from out of position, which is you, always checks the river after calling the sizing. And this is exactly what I was talking about, right? Like, if he took a smaller sizing, some ridiculous sizing, like 50, if you said, I just want to call that bet instead of check raise, I would then say to you, I think you need to open your options up about leading rivers. Whereas a standard in position turn bet, it wouldn't really make any sense for you to check call and then lead rivers, unless it was like maybe a jack, or, you know what I mean? Something that changed. This one's a little bit in between, but okay. So you make the call, the pot's 11.55. Okay.
Right. And based on this board, like, I'll be a little bit sad if the river is checked back and this person has ace king and I lose and I win the pot. But I also wouldn't be too, like, I would be okay if that's the outcome. Partially because I did not bring all the cash.
Well, that's another. That's why sometimes you run it right, or that's sometimes you run it twice. Yeah. All right. So 11.55. It's queen 10-4 king, totally rainbow in a 4-bet pot. Here it's got ace ace. What's the river?
King.
The river's a king. Oh my goodness. That can't be that good for you, right? I mean, so the river is a king. So now you lose to ace king. So it's queen 10-4 king king, and what could you possibly be? Unless he was somehow stop betting in position with ace queen, which I don't know. Like, if he stop bet with ace king on the turn to sort of try to pot control, could he ever stop bet with ace queen? It doesn't matter. It's a really bad card for you. You pray that it goes check check, I would assume.
Yes, I would pray that it goes check check.
Right.
So I took some time. I actually thought about it, because theoretically, like, this king is actually pretty good for me.
Good for your range, you mean?
Good for my range, because there's a lot of ace kings that I bet the flop and decided to pot control the turn.
Right.
And the river king just made my hands pretty nutty in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
It also reduces opponent's kings to one combo.
Right.
And because I have aces, the opponent really does not have a ton of ace kings here anymore.
Well, yeah. I mean, I assume he's probably still going to continue to the 4-bet with all ace king, and there's combinations. I mean, there's 8, right? So there's 2 and 2. Or excuse me, there's 2 kings left, and there's 4 combos of ace king. There's 2 aces dead, there's 2 kings dead. So 2 times 2 is 4. So there's 4 combos of ace king left, and then you've got, there's a bunch of, there's other hands that beat you. I think at a certain point, if he does, like, say, blast the river, we'll have to start to think about what possibly could the bluffs be. I assume you checked. Did you check?
I checked and he jammed.
So for what, like 1100 or something, like about a pot?
Yeah, it's pretty much a 1-to-1.
Well, as I was looking down at the chat and I was kind of thinking ahead of this, I mean, because it's a 4-bet pot and you bet half the size of the pot on the flop, so he has to have something here to continue here on the flop. The problem here is that all the straight draws, with the exception of Jack 9, which he should never have to a 4-bet pot. Well, Jack 9's a straight anyways, actually. But all the straight draws here are all make trip kings. Ace, king, and king, jack. So what you're left with is him somehow having a pair that doesn't go to showdown here at the end that called the flop. What would that be? Like queen, jack, pocket, jack. So queen, jack, if he has it in a 4-bet pot, queen, jack suited, you can make a case that he never has that. Jack, jack. Does jack, jack take this sizing on the turn and then like make a crazy bluff here at the end with jack, jack? And I guess he's trying to get you to literally fold ace, ace. It's interesting because, again, like you said, you have a fair amount of ace, king. And then from the opponent's perspective, though, what can he value bet here? Like, what do you think the minimum hand strength should get value bet for jam sizing here from your opponent?
I am assuming if I were the person in position and I faced the check on the turn and the check on the river, I would think the bottom would be ace king. I would check back king jack if I had it.
You would check back king. You would check back king jack.
Yes, because I feel like if I jam king jack, I cannot get called by worse.
You can't get called by worse. So, and again, that even assumes that you have king jack in a 4-bet pot.
Right.
So you're talking about ace king plus here.
Ace king plus.
Right, ace king plus. And how many combinations? We said that there were 4 ace kings, right? And then if you've got some possible slow plays on the flop, which I think makes sense, like he might even just call with everything on the flop, right? Because of the pot size.
I think he is definitely calling everything on the flop.
Right.
It's rainbow board. If he has queens, tens, he would just call.
And it's the easiest jam in the world across this river with tens or queens full. So that's another 6 combos right there that would probably play like this 100% of the time, like on every single street. So you've got 6 combos of those underboats. You've got another 4 combos of ace king. That's 10 combos. Even if he bluffed with every single jack jack combination that he gets here with, which is what, like 6 combinations. I guess with a pot size bet, you're getting 2-1. And the way that you would look at that is like you've got 10 value hands and he's got 6 bluffing combos. So it becomes really, really close. But I mean, you'd have to find 5. So supposedly if he bluffed with every combo of jack jack at 2-1, I suppose you would call. Does he ever have some king queen suited here though too? To a 4-bet,
Yeah, I think he would. I'm just going to give half of the combos. So 1 combo of king queen suited. He might have 1 combo of king jack suited.
Yeah, man. I just, it's just one of these things where, I mean, I know it kind of sucks, but I don't know. And again, yeah, he's a Euro German, but I still think it's one hell of a bluff to make to find jack jack here. And it's not found at the 100% frequency, if it even is supposed to be taken like this. It would be interesting in a solver if you ran this through, if jack jack is supposed to be bluffed here at the end. Maybe it depends on the suits, but this would be a really hard call for me to make. You'd have to go really down into the weeds. I mean,
yeah, this guy even could have ace jack suited, which is a straight.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. I mean, that's another hand. Yeah.
I'm like, and when the villain jammed, I was just like very, very sad because I was down a lot and I ran it up to 1700. Like, okay.
Well, and then if you're wrong and you have to leave the table, that sucks too, right? Seriously. I mean, I've been in those spots, like, because I've traveled around, like, even in Austin this past time, I only brought like 5 or 6 grand with me. And yeah, there was like one spot, it didn't come into play, but I was like, well, I know that there might be a situation here where I might maybe fold a little bit more than I would, just because if I'm wrong, it will knock me out of the game.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, I think I have aces. There's no way for me to call on this.
So you folded?
I folded face up.
You folded face up to the Euro?
Yeah, and he showed me Jack 10 suited.
Jack 10 suited. Wow. So that is a hand that I suppose, well, I said Queen Jack. I put that into the category of Queen Jack. I don't, when you, at this stack depth, again, this maybe Nate might know off the top of my head, I don't know. if you're 4-bet and you're in position to 3 point, so right, we got 8, the guy opens to 20, we 3-bet to 60, he now 4-bets to 200, so just over 3x, and we're in position. Is Jack 10 suited called to a 4-bet more than Queen Jack suited? I would probably tend to think yes, maybe.
I think so.
Yeah.
Queen Jack is dominated too often.
Yeah.
And is a little bit better.
Right.
I totally did not expect this person to have Jack 10 suited, because I feel like that's kind of a online / pro / kind of sticky player kind of move. Like most people would just probably fold Jack 10 suited here.
Well, so what's interesting about this is that what is the bet on the turn? Is that like, I don't know what to call this bet. So he bets 170, he bets really small on the turn, right? Like really, really small. Now, is that like, because is he equity denying you, like with like ace 5 here? Like, is he going to, instead of the river being a king, let's say the river was a deuce. Okay. Is he bluffing Jack 10?
Yes.
Yeah. So he was running a bluff the whole time then on the turn.
He was running a bluff on the king turn once I checked. So I did talk to this person a little bit afterwards. I was like, yeah, I think Jack 10 makes total sense here as played. And I think Jacks would actually be the most natural bluffing candidate on this runout, because, in position probably does not have a worse hand than 10 Jack or Jacks on this board. Everything else is a little bit better. So I think the turn, he said, and I fully agree. Agree to some extent. He said if he had value, he would still set it up this way to have a 1-to-1 river shove.
Well, so some people are saying he capped you by you just calling his small turn bet. I mean, so the hero's always check raising with a set on the turn? I don't know. I mean,
I don't think I'm really capped. I mean, okay, in some extent, I'm probably capped on the turn by check calling, but I would still have king.
You still have King X right at the end, which you're not going to fold, right?
Right. I still have a King X in the end. So
yeah,
regardless of whether I'm capped on the turn, the river king and the fact that I checked and he jammed is super, super strong.
Well, what's funny about that is that we could even make a case and say that, maybe he was planning to run a bluff on a brick because you're quote unquote capped by you just calling his small turn bet. But the river should make him probably bluff less often, right? If it improves your ace king holdings, right?
Yeah, it improved my perceived ace king ranges.
Right.
Significantly.
Yeah.
And therefore the jam is even much, much stronger, because he's basically saying he is at least ace king.
Right.
Because ace king will be chopping.
Yeah.
And that makes my fold even easier.
Yeah. So I mean it's interesting on a lot of levels, in the sense that, okay, he's setting up maybe a 2-street bluff, but just like he can't bluff. I mean, I assume if the river is a jack, right, he's not allowed to just move all in.
Well, if the river is a jack, I would have the super easy call.
Well, obviously. But what I'm saying is that, like, if he plans to run this play on the turn, there are rivers that change things. And if the river is a jack, I think it would be a very bad play to just jam all in. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For the same reason why here you could make a case that he's supposed to be bluffing less often when the king comes. It's a whole very, very interesting thing all around. But thank you very much for the call. I appreciate it.